Today we're talking about film festivals.
That adds color to the story.
Roll sound. Cameras rolling.
Welcome to this episode of Butter City, a show all about filmmaking with a little bit of a Minnesota twist. Today we're going to have folks in here talking about the film Triumph67, which premiered this last Twin Cities Film Festival, the International Film Festival. We got director Dan Tanz, actor Mohannad Ghawanmeh, and we've got cinematographer Jeremy Wilker. Thanks for coming to the show.
Thank you.
So all three of you had totally different roles on this film, you know, between directing, acting, and cinematography, but then you also all came together to produce this film, Triumph67. Why don't we start with a little bit with talking about what is the story behind this film?
Well, the story of the film is, it focuses on two brothers. They're Palestinian brothers living in the United States. What happens is one of them just up and vanishes in a sense, and really he dies, but we never really get to find out why or what happened. But that disappearance is kind of a thread that goes through the story as his younger brother attempts to make sense of the memories of the past, the family memories of him and his brother, and there's this sense of loss that kind of follows this younger brother, played by Mohannad Ghawanmeh. And I think what he's looking for through the course of the film is this memory that he just can't seem to wrap his mind around. It's just like fleeting, ephemeral sense of who he is and his past, and also he discovers that he has this nephew that he's never met before, and he realizes the importance of reaching out to the family that he discovers that he has when his brother dies.
Now, Dan, I know you wrote this film. So what was the spark that sort of, you know, how did you come to write a story about two Palestinian brothers?
Well, you know, the idea of doing a story about a person who was searching for something was appealing to me, and I had this idea that thinking of just the image of an outsider in America, looking at the world around him and trying to make heads or tails of it, seemed really interesting to me. And it ended up coming together that it would be a Palestinian, because I really liked the idea that something that he'd also be trying to find would be his own identity, his own memory of his heritage, his past, when he didn't have access to that memory himself, because he was the son of a refugee, so he never got to soak in those memories that we take for granted. And I wrote this with Heidi Holland, who is another screenwriter, and under the many conversations with Mohannad, so we talked a lot about what would be a realistic story for Palestinian people in America, and that's how it all came together.
Let's go ahead and take a look at a clip right now.
It's true, by the way. Clothes do make the man. given the raw materials. I like to think it worked for me.
You know, this Triumph 67 is a story that is like a lot about nuance. You know, like it always feels like, you know, you're paying attention to like these little details, and sort of this idea of you know, this memory of a brother. And Mohannad, what was it like, you know, as an actor to be able to get into this role, but then also to be, I mean, you were saying, Dan, that, you know, you were also helping to sort of advise on some of the nuances of this. You know, was that something that was just really natural as you were acting to kind of portray, or did you have to set, you know, try to help set things up to be able to really bring across?
I think that one of our operative methodologies while making the film, prepping for the film and making it, was to take advantage of existing resources, human and material. And in that, I think, and in realizing that, you know, most of the actors who were working on the film were acting for the first time, in my case it was the second, that we, you know, that we should tailor actor to character readily. And I think that that figured into the writing of the characterization of Mohannad, the character, in ways that I wasn't privy to immediately, because I didn't co-write the screenplay, but all the producers vetted the screenplay and considered what was there. As far as my influencing the film thematically and the like, I think that it was at the point when we decided that we were not going to only, that Mohannad, the character, was going to not only be Arab but also a Palestinian, and my being of a Palestinian background, especially considering certain political ideas that Dan and I share, Dan being Jewish American, we thought that, you know, that the film could also serve a political undercurrent. And it's something that's alluded to, but it's not something that the immediate story involves, and it's something that I think some audiences may miss, but others who are particularly attuned to Middle East politics would be familiar with.
I mean, in some ways, you know, I think that's part of the beauty. I mean, this idea of, you know, how often is the story so blatant, but to let something have that subtlety and to really mix it in with a human story. I mean, I think it was a beautiful job. But then you also have the cinematography, you know, Jeremy, which I know, you know, you were DPing on this. There's a lot of aesthetic choices that, you know, the director has to make and the DP has to make. How did you guys work together to figure out what, I mean, did you have like real strong ideas that this is what it's got to be like? Or, you know, Jeremy, when you came to the project, were you, you know, suggesting certain things?
Well, I think we all agreed that we wanted this kind of recent past aesthetic to be conveyed in everything we did in the film, from, as Mohannad alluded to, some of the costuming, the antique props and whatnot. And that also extended all the way to the camera. We didn't want, even though we were shooting in full modern HD, we didn't want it to look crisp and too bright and vivid. So, you know, the choice was to use older, almost antique lenses on the camera, and to, you know, use natural lighting whenever possible. Yeah, just, I mean, every little thing in the film is there for some specific reason, from the set design and the costuming, and everything in there is all of that same mindset. So It was very thought out.
I think another important point regarding the cinematography is that every shot, we pretty much agonized over every shot of this film, and every shot was set up carefully in so many ways. And once the shot was set up, we never moved the camera, never zoomed in, never panned it over. Everything had to happen within the frame. That was a decision we made because we felt that there was a statement to be made about the inability of freedom of movement that we wanted to address through that decision, that choice in filmmaking. And that was the situation for Mohannad's character. Entrapped, a very claustrophobic set in the bedroom where the walls just kind of close in over the characters. And the idea was that we just wanted to make a statement about the reality for Palestinian people and the inability to freely move. And even though this character is in America now, it should be easy to go places and capitalize on that freedom. But the overall experience of Palestinian people is that of containment and inability to move. And the only time that the camera moves in this film is in memory sequences, in the flashbacks. Then there's the free-flowing movement of this camera and this kind of much more luscious, grainier experience, but also harder to grab your fingers around, kind of harder to lock down. And it's that memory that Mohannad keeps trying to go back to and having difficulty with how he sees himself.
Let's take a look at another clip.
الوطن, homeland, home. The soil from which we sprang. Our parents said it's not like that anymore. But it had been once. For Sammy, that was enough. And that's when I realized a person could keep things hidden. Someone might tell you that he was just running around to the pub, when in reality, he was seeing how we had lived. Before nothing was left at all.
As we, watch this film and you can see, like you've made all these really deliberate choices, as you were saying about, locking the camera down, and even in the attic, where the bedroom is, you really do get that sense of, it's like, the 1.5 stories Minneapolis homes, where you can't really move freely. But you also did this job of you showcase Minneapolis quite a bit in here. Were there, choices that you were making, especially when you're doing this juxtaposition about land and landscape and how that affects, people's stories? Was it really deliberate about what from Minneapolis you were going to showcase? Because I noticed you like bridges and rivers. Was that deliberate? Was that part of the storytelling that you wanted to have in here?
Yeah, I think that I was born in Minneapolis, and it's what I know. So I know where I like to go and what I like to look at and what I like to see. But I think the locations were used for what they represent. I mean, the brothers take a long walk down to the waterfall, and just flowing water has so many meanings that you can read into in so many different ways with life and death. memories, and how and the constant shifting ways that your memory plays out. And even when we shot at Minnehaha Falls, the water was just barely trickling down, and that to me was really telling of the psychological state of Mohannad's memory. I mean, it was just having a hard time remembering what he needed to remember. So that played a big role. And it was just great to get those beautiful shots of the lock and dam, and just, we really lucked out. We had a huge, long barge moving through the scene, and
Fabulous weather, too.
yeah.
We really got lucky.
What do you guys think about that?
Agreed. Yeah, the closing shot Dan was referring to of the barge. We saw it coming down. We had already wrapped filming at that location basically, and we said, well, what's going to happen with this barge coming through? And said, well, it's going to come right through here, and it's going to take this long. And we said, okay, get everything back out quick. Mohannad, sit here, look over there. We'll just film this. Just we'll use it for something. And it's going by, and it fits so well with the Mahmoud Darwish poem that we were able to use in the film. And then at the end, you see the cloud breaks, the sun comes down beaming over Mohannad, and then the American flag is at the end of the boat that we never even saw going by. And it was, it was like, how many times would you, try to set up that shot and nail it, and never get it at 100 takes, and then just by random it happens, and we happen to capture it. So, yeah, it was, after it was done, we all high-fived each other. And
I mean, it is a beautiful shot, and having the American flag right at the end is like, one more accent to the whole story. Yeah. So when you guys were working together on this, was there anything that totally surprised you as you were, either shooting it or trying to go through post? And because there's always something that you never can plan for.
The disruption from the sky.
Wait, hold on. Are you gonna tell the story about your car too?
yeah, the car.
Oh, that's right. I crashed it.
You crashed it, that one that's in the film?
The Mercedes, it was mine.
Really, and you crashed it?
I crashed it during the shooting.
And unfortunately, we weren't filming at that moment.
The crash?
But, yeah.
We still used it.
Did you have to get it repaired?
No, we worked around it.
I
He
think,
totaled it. I mean,
yeah, we think he was,
Out of
he
sorts.
crashed it twice in 1 month. Right? The couple days before we started shooting was a minor fender bender, and then a few days into it, after we'd already used the car several times, there was the hood of the car just went completely bending up, and just.
Not the only price paid for, having willfully inhabited such a miserable character.
I was going to say, were you like feeling the character and just out of body?
We joked about it, but I think that was probably what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was in a different place, for sure.
So how long did it take to actually shoot this? Because I mean, you guys are pretty meticulous about, really. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's set up like still photography. I mean, and you do, your character is a still photographer in the film, but that takes a lot of time to decide exactly how you're going to set it up, get everything going. How many days did it take for you to shoot?
I'll tell you, the very first day that we shot, we were struggling just to make it, just to find our pace, I think, and to find the confidence, because it was many of our first projects or second project. And, we were going to probably have to do twice as many days shooting, given the rate of the first day. But about midnight, Jeremy pulls me aside, and I'm looking pale and dark circles under my eyes, and he says, "You know what? We gotta rally each other up. We gotta just do this. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It's midnight, but let's order a pizza. Let's just keep going." And I was so concerned that he was ready to walk out the door, that when he had brought that confidence and that excitement and enthusiasm, that just rejuvenated me. And then we turned around and got these great shots, and we were able to shoot the rest of the film in 3 weeks. So.
I mean, it paid off. I mean, and I think too, like you can tell you guys must have just really gelled. Especially the first day is always the longest day, because you're learning how to work together, and then you're like, oh. I mean, were there things by the second day you're like, you know what, let's just cut this one out, because we know what we're doing here?
Yeah, it starts to make sense. You find a rhythm, I think, and you start to after a week or so, you start to realize that it's going to happen, that it's not just some dream, because the days are so long and so intense, 6 at 5 in the morning to 3 in the morning, the whole day and the whole night. And then you do it again, and then again, and then again, and there's barely any time to even review the footage, if any time at all. And you just you have to just go on faith that you've prepared and that you believe in everything, and that your collaborators are equally as talented, and they believe in it too.
Let's take a look at this next and last clip from Triumph67.
Poems we liked. Did you ever do that? I contributed Dover Beach.
Let us be true to one another.
Always the optimist. Here, Adam remembers the dust of his clay. Mahmoud Darwish. His printing was so careful.
I've forgotten. You are my country. You'd really have to love a person to write that line.
You'd think so.
Adam should have it someday.
Maybe we should get started.
Let me get you some water.
It's all right.
This film premiered with the Twin Cities International Film Festival, so it's like right here. It's got to be nice to show your film right in your hometown. Are there any, what was the reaction? How did folks respond, and what was that like for you?
I am a big fan. I mean, I'm a huge supporter of keeping it local. With IFP being here in town and taking advantage of all the resources there. Like, I was personally thrilled to have it be at MSPIF this spring, and to sell out the theater and get a second show right away. That was amazing. Felt good. So
We also fared well and got honorable mention. So that was nice.
Nice job. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Now, the film is still doing the festival circuit, and is probably going to, once it finishes up, that will be going on video on demand. Is that right?
yeah, that's the
Okay.
plan. A few more months of pursuing the festival world and seeing where that goes, and then at some point the video on demand streaming will happen. So check our website for updates on that.
Perfect. And what's the website that people can go to?
It's Triumph67film.com.
Okay, we'll check that out. And then I know, because you guys are all in motion and keep moving, and this film's doing its thing, but what are the projects that you're working on right now? I mean, Dan, you're writing something right now?
Yeah, I'm in the process of writing a new screenplay, another drama, and just kind of getting some feedback on that right now. I sent it over to Jeremy. He's taking a look at it, so we'll see what happens.
I'm going to PhD school.
And what are you going to get your PhD in?
It'll be film related, I can't help it.
Nice.
Not sure which department or discipline yet, but it'll certainly be film related.
And you're going to keep acting?
We'll see
Nice.
if I can help it.
Nice, nice. And Jeremy, you're working on another film right now.
Yeah, I'm already in pre-production with another person on a feature kind of teen comedy called Death to Prom. If you imagine a little bit of maybe Pretty in Pink, John Hughes era kind of feel to it with a little bit more sarcasm and a little bit more fabulous, that would be Death to Prom. And yeah.
So, I mean, you guys are already talking about working on something again, but do you think the three of you will ever get back together and work on something?
Well, I think of these guys now as just part of the family. So if I get back together with them, it'll probably be, you know, over I don't know, some Christmas dinner or something. But I don't know. You know, maybe there's a Triumph 68 or.
Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on the show today. It was great. It was a pleasure. It's a great film. I hope folks go and check out Triumph67 and we get a chance to see your new screenplay. And we'll be looking for, you know, Death to Prom and whatever film theories you come up with. I'm going to be excited to talk with you about that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching this episode of Butter City, a show all about filmmaking with a little bit of a Minnesota twist. Please check out our website at buttercity.com. We're on Facebook and we tweet too. Thank you very much.